On January 24th, Care for Friends board and staff members participated in Chicago's point in time count. The purpose of this count was to collect data for federal funding on homeless service initiatives. So the Care for Friends staff went there, and each group of people were separated into teams. So there were about teams of 3, 4, 5 people, and each team received a map of their designated area. And so our responsibility was to take the map, get into the car, and then comb the streets, comb the alleys, looking for homeless folks, and if and when appropriate, asking them a few questions about how they ended up there. Now last Thursday was negative 20 degrees with wind chill, so we obviously were very hopeful that we were not going to find anybody on the streets that night, and we didn't. But we were also instructed by the point in time count folks to look at establishments that were open 24 hours. So to keep our eyes open for laundromats or 7-Elevens or stores like Dunkin Donuts. So one of the Dunkin Donuts that we went to was in the North Park neighborhood. We walked in and I asked the staff person if there were any homeless people in there at that point. And he said, every single person in here is homeless except for that guy. So I asked him if it was appropriate, if he thought it would be okay for me to ask, and the rest of our team to ask people a few questions. And he said, yeah, obviously, absolutely. So we were speaking with some people who had been homeless since 2012. And it was really enlightening to find out how they got to that point and what were the circumstances that were involved in having them be without shelter, be without a place to stay since 2012. And it was also incredibly heartwarming to interact with the staff person at Dunkin Donuts, because here is his place of business, and whereas he could have easily said, shoo, shoo, don't come in here, instead he did the exact opposite. He welcomed in these folks who needed shelter and were incredibly vulnerable on a night like that with those severe weather elements. He welcomed them in and was fine, did not bother them, and even offered them cups of coffee to keep them warm. And it was just heartening to see that. And he came up to me later on and even asked me for additional resources that he could provide. And he asked me for resources that he could provide his friends. And he honestly considers the folks that he welcomes in, and especially on nights like that, his friends. So I gave him the care cards, I gave him information on the services that we provide here, the hot meals, the health care, the clothing, the toiletries. And he was so appreciative of me giving him these resources so that he could further help his homeless friends. And these are the folks that we don't hear about, these folks who would just silently go along, opening up their places of business, opening up their wallets, opening up their hearts to people who are invisible to a lot of us. And I just wanted to give a shout out to this gentleman working in the North Park Dunkin Donuts, because it was just an amazing thing to see. So thank you, and if you're ever in the North Park neighborhood, look for Dunkin Donuts and just go in there, because bets are you're probably going to be supporting a business that really does good for the community.